NC Breakfast.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Bama Standard on this Saturday afternoon. And why are we here? Well, if we're not anything here at the Standard, we are stewards to the best fan base on the planet, and that's you guys of the Bama Standard. And we're here to tell you about the first big spring practice. And we've got the man with all the insides to be here to tell you guys and give the info. The man who, brings some sensibility and levity to the Fine Bomb show when he shows up. The man that keeps the coaches tame with all the questions and all the insides. Look, man needs no introduction. Stephen Smith, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, Pettey. Doing fantastic. I mean, it was the first scrimmage of fall camp today, the 7th practice in the books. I will have a lot of more in-depth material on touchdownalabama.com. So be sure to go there, subscribe there for more of the in-depth material from the first scrimmage of fall camp. That's touchdownalabama.com. But a lot of things that we were able to see today.
Nice. Well, man, we are excited. I'm sure the fan base is excited because the closer we get to, the football season, the more info everybody wants to digest. And as practice was going on, man, stuff started leaking out. And I know that as much as the coaches try to keep stuff on the quiet front, it's inevitable. If you've got eyes there with phones, stuff's going to leak out. So I know the Bama Nation is buzzing about the Milroe to Williams 50-yard bomb, and apparently Caleb Odom made a play on the sideline that was just jaw-dropping. But more than anything, man, one of the biggest questions that I think Bama fans had was it the offensive coordinators holding Milroe back from reaching his full potential? And, man, it sounds like in this first scrimmage, those questions are starting to get answered. What you think, Stephen?
I mean, you look at Bill O'Brien, Tommy Rees did hold Milroe back because Nick Sheridan is letting Milroe do his thing. And we saw it, 50-yard bomb there to Ryan Williams, big plays to Caleb Odom, had a 40-yard scramble run for a touchdown. Milroe's making plays out there. And Kalen DeBoer talked about it after the scrimmage. The plays that are there, he's hitting them. The plays that are there, the entire quarterback room's hitting them. The one thing that Kalen DeBoer wants to see more of is, you don't have to get it all back with one play. If you're behind the down the distance, don't be opposed to throwing the ball away, protecting yourself, playing the next play, playing the next down. And I'm not saying that this happened a lot because it did not, but the few times it did happen, DeBoer is like, you don't need to get it all back on one play. We have so much offensive firepower that we can get the first down. You don't have to get it all back with one play. But with the explosive stuff that happened out there on the field, Jalen Milroe is showing you he's big time. He's big time. And Nick Sheridan has put him in positions to now be big time. So, yes, Bill O'Brien, Tommy Rees, they did hold Milroe back. But Nick Sheridan's like, enough of that. We finna let the cannon loose.
So are the themes that we were hearing early on from camp, were they prevalent so far for what you saw in the scrimmage? That is, Law is becoming that Swiss Army knife, that guy that's really going to take the nation by storm. Ryan Williams is cementing his role, the receiving core. Again, surprises, themes that are coming to fruition. Anything of that nature?
Nothing surprising. I mean, you look at Ryan Williams, we knew the young man was a special talent coming out of high school. I mean, 17 years old, should still be in high school. And the fact that he's able to be out here making the plays that he's making so far, showing up the way he's showing up, blocking out all the media noise, and just playing ball. That's the main thing. Could he get here? Could he get himself around some veteran dudes, block out the noise, and just play ball? And we're starting to see that right now from Ryan. He's blocking out the external factors. He's made plays all throughout practice. We've seen it so far here in the first scrimmage of fall camp, getting up there, making the 50-yard catch. And it's crazy the ability that he's got at 17 years of age, 6'1", 175 pounds. Now, I see this guy, Keith Lindsay, in the chat saying that but I was one of the guys against Milroe last year. No, I was never a guy against Milroe. I was always a Milroe guy. I was for Milroe. My main thing I want to see from him is being able to consistently hit those short to intermediate passes, those 10 to 15-yard throws to either side of the boundary, in which we're seeing that now. So I was never one against Jalen Milroe. I don't know where that came from, but
I think some of us, and I don't even remember you being one of those, but some of us, and heck, I'm our hand raised guy on the network, questioned just what you said. We would have liked to seen a progression, but it goes back to that first question. We questioned, was it Tommy Rees holding Milroe back with the offense he was calling? And I feel like those questions may be starting to get answered. But what we wanted to see was Milroe make quicker decisions and be more, better in that 15-yard range. So, and again, it sounds like a lot of those questions are getting answered right now. Speaking of the quarterback, again, talking about whispers coming out of the practices, a name that kind of got lost in the backup shuffle with Ty Simpson and Lonergan and those guys is Mac. And I word is Mac was looking really good today.
I'll say this, coming from Washington, he knows the system. He knows this system. He knows his offense under Kalen DeBoer. And we've seen him at times make some off-platform throws, Pettey. He's got a bit of ability to make those Patrick Mahomes off-platform type throws.
Wow.
The question was, how quickly could he come in here and get himself immersed in the culture, right? How quickly could he get himself immersed in the culture, ingrained in the culture? That's the big thing. And so far, he's taken on the culture. He's getting more enamored with it. He's getting more immersed with it. He's getting more inside of it. So, but talent was never an issue with Matt. Body right there at 6'6", can make some off-platform throws. It's always been how quickly could he adjust himself into the culture. So seeing Mac have success, this is a big thing. And I go back to Coach DeBoer. The quarterbacks made plays out there. They made plays out there. The throws they need to hit on, they hit on them out there. The main thing with Coach DeBoer, if you're seeing yourself getting hit with that pressure, don't be opposed to throwing the ball away. Protect your arm, protect your body. But as far as making the plays out there, these quarterbacks are ripping them.
Well, speaking of the quarterbacks, they got to have time to rip them. Was there any guys? I know the offensive tackle is probably getting, I think the core three, your center and guards are pretty much spoken for as far as your starting group. And there may be some, I may be wrong there. You can correct me if I am, Stephen, but it seems like the tackle position is where the battles are really going on in this fall camp. Did it look like any guys were kind of starting to emerge at those spots?
But I mean, the offensive tackle thing is still being worked out a bit more. I thought, Wilkin Formby took some strides today. Wilkin Formby took some strides today. Really like what Wilkin was able to do on the outside. He was the guy out there that protected Milroe on the 50-yard bomb there to Ryan Williams. So Wilkin Formby's making some strides out there. Caden Proctor had some good moments out there as well, especially in the run game, making sure that Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, who got the majority of reps with the ones, they're out there doing their thing on the ground. And, Caden Proctor played a role there. Elijah Pritchett had some good moments. Pritchett had some good moments. So he continues to be in that battle as well. So nobody has really in scrimmage one said the job is mine. But I thought all three, Formby, Pritchett, and Proctor, had some big moments out there.
Wow. Awesome. That's good news to hear. Because, I mean, look, offense only goes as well as the line goes, and we want to be solidified there. And I know that offensive tackle, while there's talent at the position, it was still kind of up in the air who was going to kind of take charge and take that role. But look,
to be honest, Pettey, sorry to cut you out. To be honest with Pettey,
no, you're good.
In the first scrimmage, you're not really looking to see who the starters are.
Yeah.
That first scrimmage, you're trying to see who's playing fast, who's got a good grasp of the playbook so far, who's got a firm understanding of the install that we've had the first 6 days of camp, and who can go out there and execute to where you're not having the coaches breathe over your shoulder. The first scrimmage is not one to see who the starters are. Now, when scrimmage 2 comes in, That's when you look at, okay, who has separated himself now? So that's scrimmage 2. Scrimmage 1 is we've got a few practice in the books here. Who has started to really gain that knowledge of playing fast?
Nice. Well, even with that said, if you've been reading the tea leaves in the off-season camps, in the fall camp, Wilkin Formby's name is one that keeps rising to the top when you're talking about that tackle position. He keeps getting mentioned, and it just kind of tells you, if you're reading between the lines, he's really taken a huge step from that first year to the second year. And if anything, Bama fans should be excited about the strides that Formby's made to be making a push like this in his second year. I think his body's changed. He doesn't look like that offense, that kid that, a lot of those tackles come from high school, still got that little kid look about him, and now he looks just like a straight up man.
He's a grown man out there. Formby from Northridge High School here in Tuscaloosa. He looks like a grown man out there now. He looks like somebody that's out there putting people on the bottom, making plays out there from the offensive line perspective. But it's just good to see right now him, Pritchett, Proctor. They're all battling. They're all fighting in there. This is really good right now.
Well, look, Stephen, we've talked it. I think the offense is probably the least of the worries right now. I think the offense, if there is a worry, I don't want to say worry. I don't get Bama fans nervous, but look, the offense I think is a given. I think it's going to be legit. But coming out of A-Day, one of the things, and look, I'm the biggest screamer. I don't take much from practice games, especially scrimmages when we're in an era of trying to keep players healthy. But one of the big question marks that came out of A-Day was tackling. We've had several people in our chat already mention it. And that, again, I don't know how much you can take from a first scrimmage. You've got coaches that are so much, and I want to tell you, this is kind of a PSA to the fan bases. Coaches are taking much more of an NFL approach to these fall camps, where you're seeing guys in black jerseys that may not be injured at all, just to try to limit some of their contact. And I don't know if that's the case as much at Alabama right now, but I'm seeing it across the country in several fall camps. So again, tackling. I hate to go on that long diatribe to get to tackling, but is there, that's been a concern amongst the fan base.
Guys were wrapping up out there, Pettey. Guys were wrapping up. Guys were bringing their body, bringing their hand. Guys were wrapping up. You did not see a lot of those mental mistakes in scrimmage 1, whether it was tackling, whether it was a lack of penalties. You did not see a lot of those mental errors. Guys were tackling out there. Guys were wrapping up out there. Guys were making plays out there. And here's something. As much as the first string and the second string was out there creating pressure, Kalen DeBoer answered my question about the third group of defensive players were getting pressure out there. So that speaks to the depth. That third wave of guys was even collapsing the pocket, was even getting pressure. That third wave was even making things happen. So we're starting to see that depth of Alabama's defensive front come to fruition here. But in terms of just pure tackling, guys were wrapping up. They were making plays out there. You did see the crisp, one-on-one tackling.
Nice. And I think Don Parker makes a good point there. And you alluded to it. It's about competition at this point, not who's starting, how fast are they playing, how are they competing? Because this part of fall camp, you're earning that job right now. So there should be a lot of that, dog. So again, I think tackling would be something you would hope to be seeing taking a step forward at this point. You said that third wave. Do you know who's providing that depth in that third wave?
Well, right now, I know DeBoer didn't say anything, but you got to figure Jeremiah Beeman's in there, Isaiah Faga's in there. You got to look at names like Edric Hill is in there. Jordan Renard has got to be in there. You got to look at guys like Noah Carter and Jayshon Ross as your edge outside linebackers. You got to think those guys are in there. That would be some of the names that I feel like would be in that wave.
Okay. Well, and man, I'd be remiss not to bring up the young guys in the secondary. That's again, to me, that is the biggest question mark on this team right now is there's talent all over that secondary, but who's going to be filling those roles? What guys are stepping up? We've got 2 transfers that are looking to start, Domani Jackson and Jones from Wake Forest, but you've got Zabien Brown who looks to be pushing, and then Mbakwe is flashing. You've talked about Kirkpatrick flashing. How is that? Again, one scrimmage, but how are these guys looking today?
I thought the big thing, Pettey, was aside from everyone hearing about the big bomb from Ryan Williams, you didn't quite see a lot of that explosiveness. So that tells me the corners, the DBs, did pretty good out there. If the only thing that really got out was the big bomb to Ryan Williams and Caleb Odom making a catch along the sidelines, that tells me, hey, the corners kept some stuff in check, and that's a good thing. When the only thing you're hearing is, oh my God, big bomb from Ryan Williams. Oh my God, Caleb Odom catching the sideline. That tells me Domani Jackson, Deshaun Jones, Jaleel Hurley, and those young corners, they kept things in front of them. That's what that tells me. That's what that tells me right there. So that's big for your young defensive secondary, that you may have given up a big play here and there, but the mass majority, you kept it in front of you, and you made the tackle, and you made the play. That's good news there for the secondary.
And that's the golden nuggets that you should take away from this today, Bama fans, because you do get these leaks out of practice, and you're like, Williams hitting 50-yard bomb, Odom making plays on the sideline, and you're like, on the flip side, you're, holy hell, what's our secondary doing? And again, like you just said, and guys like that are going to pop and make plays, but when you're hearing it's a back-and-forth battle, that's what you want to hear, that the defense is winning their share of, if not more, of the plays, and it sounds like those guys are holding their own.
Exactly, and that's the main thing Scrimmage won, is that competition, guys being able to hold their own, and guys being able to go out there and play fast and play sound. And when the only thing you're getting leaking out of practice, leaking out of scrimmage is, okay, Ryan Williams had this big play, Caleb Odom had this big play, it speaks to the DBs keeping things in front of them. So that's a good thing, but DBs keeping things in front of them.
Hey, again, I'm really excited. As much as it is a question mark, I think it's a question mark that can get answered with a positive answer, because there is so much talent at that position. You mentioned the other night a player that Womack was salivating over was Keon Keeley. The size combination you put together just made Bama fans probably his head explode. Is he still flashing out there? I mean, is he looking like he's becoming the guy that's going to be that can make a difference on the defensive front and just disrupt the hell out of offenses?
I mean, he was still out there making plays, Pettey. He was still out there flashing. He was still out there creating havoc. He was still out there getting pressure out there when he was able to get pressure out there. The main thing with Keeley is going to be, do it every single practice. That's the main thing that Freddie Roach and Kane Womack are getting with Keeley. We know you a big dude. You're 277 pounds, for crying out loud. Continue to do it. Continue to do it. Continue to do it. Get out there, get pressure on the quarterback, continue to do your job out there on the field. So he made some plays out there, but for him, it's every single practice we're out there, do your spot. I thought the interesting thing out there was from the specialist standpoint, James Burnett punting-wise looked good. Graham Nicholson, I heard 2 for 4 on field goals, including a 48-yarder that was made. Got to get him a bit more. And I know at Scrimmage One fans, don't get scared. People go 2 for 4. Oh, God, he's not Reichard. We're terrible. We're doomed. He's not Reichard. People, yes, 2 for 4. First time out there, he did have a 48-yarder and I think a 50-yarder, which he made out there. So 2 for 4, and the 2 ones he made were some good kicks right there. The main thing with him is going to be the consistency and continuing to just make the field goal. Don't put a whole bunch of pressure on yourself. Just make the field goal. Don't put a whole bunch of pressure on yourself. That's the main thing. So I know people looked at, Graham Nicholson 2 for 4, and people's hands started exploding. Oh, God, he's not Riker. There's missing kicks.
We had people in the chat before the show started, Stephen, already freaking out over the kicking. What's going on with the kicking?
I mean, look, the 2 kicks he made, one was from 46. I heard another one was from 50. So he made 2 long-range ones. The other 2, you don't know how they were missed. Probably the wind got a hold of it and pushed it. Probably was the guy didn't get the laces the right way. You don't know how it was missed. You just hear it was missed, and you go, my God, kicker, what's wrong with you? But he's going to be fine, people. He is going to be okay.
That is good to know. Everybody take a breath. It's scrimmage 1. It's a little hot out there. He's getting used to it. I think he was up in the MAC where it was always cold.
Yeah, look, he was up in the Mid-American Conference where there was snow on top of the snow on top of the snow. Yeah. So now he's getting used to him in the South. There is heat. There is sun. There is a brisk of wind every now and again. So even he's getting acclimated.
And he's probably been to a college pool at the SEC, and there's actually women down here too. So look, he'll be okay.
He'll be fine, people. He'll be.
Look, and I got to give our man F. Efron some love for pointing this one out. And this is a name that I'm a huge fan of him, but I think because of all the newcomers, all the turnover, all the new faces, all the new coaches, he's kind of got lost in the shuffle and getting talked about. But I feel like he's going to be the stabilizer to this defense and what keeps everybody in check. And that's Malachi Moore. What's his role look like so far? I don't think we even talked about him the other night. What's his role look like so far? And is he still flashing as one of the team leaders out there on the defense?
Definitely one of the team leaders out there on defense. He's still thumping out there. He's the strong safety or the rover. So what that is, he's going to play in the box some, thumping on running backs and that run support. But he's also, as the rover, he's going to have his opportunity to really get out there and cover passes also. Really get out there and show his range, taking balls away from these receivers, undercutting routes, creating interceptions, getting turnovers. So he's going to thump in terms of stopping the run, but he's going to also be able to showcase his range in playing the ball.
I love it, man. I look for Malachi again, and I know the coaches haven't lost the sight of him being one of the team leaders, but I feel like this offseason we've talked about so much of the incoming talent. We've lost sight that we've really got a key cog that I believe is going to be the glue that keeps all these newcomers together to, keep that Bama standard in check. We've got several questions popping up from the chat. Shoot, man, we got a bunch of folks in there. Got to give them some love. Kendall Owens, any news on Jaron Hamilton or Miles McVay?
Both of those guys are still working. Miles McVay is still working at that guard tackle spot there, more so of a guard spot there for McVay. Jaron Hamilton, number 16, he's making plays out there as well, trying to crack into that rotation, right? Because everybody's looking at Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, Jeremy Bernard. Jaron Hamilton's trying to crack his way in there. He's trying to crack his way in there. People talk about the more so known guys, and also Ryan Williams, Caleb Odom. Jaron's doing well out there, but for him, it's a fight trying to crack his way into that receiver rotation.
Nice. Look, man, and I know it kind of is a running joke at this point, but sometimes it becomes a running joke because it is a source of anxiety, and until you see that it's fixed and okay, you're going to damn worry about it. And Don Parker, we're going to get this question until we're 3 games in and we've had some serious no issues in this department. I think people will relax. But can you touch on this question from Don? Any issues with the QB Center exchange?
I didn't hear any snaps being rolled on the ground. I didn't hear of any snaps being thrown over Milroe's head or any of the quarterback's head. So Parker Brausford's doing his job. Parker Brausford snapping that ball cleanly. So I didn't hear anything about the ball got snapped over Milroe's head and he had to run 20 yards back and grab the ball and throw it. I didn't hear anything about the ball got snapped all over the ground. So Parker Brausford's doing his job.
Nice. And I know this it'd be hard to answer. Is there any progression on Hell? Is he out for the season or is there a chance that he may come back?
I feel like Pettey, he could come back mid-season, but I think the coaching staff's going to hold him off because it was a pretty significant knee injury in spring ball. I think the coaching staff is going to hold him off and have him with that medical red shirt. That's just how I feel.
Well, and you hate to lose him because he is a talent, a proven talent, and I think he would have been in the rotation. But one of the luxuries we have right now is depth at wide receiver. With the guys, Law, Prentice, Emmanuel Henderson, you say is flashing, but then all you hear is about Ryan Williams and Caleb Odom being college ready right now. So again, I hate it more for hell than anything, but I think it's position-wise, it's going to be okay, and it'll give him a year where he doesn't have to press back into the role. He can get healthy, come back, and maybe get on the field and get back in that rotation, because there's no doubt he's got the talent to be on the field.
Right. You don't want to rush that kid back. You don't want to rush him back. You want to have him fully healthy, fully recovered, full go. So, I mean, if he's able to get back mid-season, hey, that's great. But if not, continue to work with him in the rehab, get him back fully cleaned up and healthy, have him with that medical red shirt. That's how I would play it.
Okay. And I couldn't agree more. Again, you don't want to rush an injury like that, especially with I mean, and with modern medicine, they're going to get him back. But again, we've got the depth there. It's a luxury that you can kind of take your time and do it the right way. And I'm going to parlay this next question from Kalen DeBoer into a full position group question, because this is one of the position groups I'm most excited about, not question mark. I think could be one of the biggest strengths in not just on the team, but in the conference. Any news on Quay Russaw at linebacker? Because I know you said DeBoer, I mean, Womack had been salivating over him. But once you touch on Russaw, I want to know what's the linebacking core like from Lawson to Jihad Campbell, man. He's the one I think that's going to break out. But I'll let you run with this, Stephen.
Well, speaking of Russaw, you talk about the wolf position at outside linebacker. All of those guys are playmakers. Russaw's a playmaker. Quindarius Robinson's a playmaker. Keanu Coots a playmaker. Yancey Pierre growing even more as a playmaker. Than Noah Carter and Jay Sean Ross, the two freshmen, are stepping up also. So, I mean, Quay Russaw is one of the three guys that Kane Womack has talked about all spring so far as a guy that's ready right now to be on the field and create that havoc. Russaw, Q-Rob, and Keanu Coote are ready right now at that spot. At the inside backer position, Lawson and Campbell are doing their thing out there. Lawson, he's your middle, he's your Mike. He's getting everybody together, but Campbell's the one that's lighting people up, that's shooting gaps, that's taking guys' heads off, that's lateral quickness, that's doing a little bit of everything out there. So you got Campbell and Lawson, but then your younger guy, you got Justin Jefferson's out there popping. I mean, he's out there popping, and then you got Jeremiah Alexander's out there. Justin Okunroquo's doing some stuff out there. Sterling Dixon's getting into the mix as well. So the entire linebacker room is doing something. I heard from one source in particular, all the LBs look good. All of them. He couldn't just, pick one. He said all of them look good out there. So the inside and the outside are doing their thing.
I absolutely feel like that's a position that maybe one of the positions of the most depth on the entire team outside of wide receiver, running back, but that linebacker depth, man. And again, I expect Lawson is more of a run stopper. You're more prototypical middle. I'm going to go and maybe not as much in coverage. And that's why I think Campbell's really going to take a step up, is what you talked about, that lateral speed. Campbell in this defense, which is going to require linebackers to really work in coverage, is going to have a hell of a year, I believe.
It's going to be Lawson, Campbell. Like I said, Jeremiah Alexander dropped a whole lot of weight for him to be able to work out there in coverage. Justin Jefferson going to be able to work out there in coverage. I think Justin Okunroquo is going to be really good. I think that guy is going to be nice. Him getting out on the field, a more athletic Henry To'o in terms of he going to wrap up and tackle, though. Okunroquo going to knife through there and get you.
He sounds like that kid that just is a machine and they said it found football and should have, if he would have found it a few years ago, would have been the number one recruit prospect in the country at linebacker.
If he would have found it a few years ago, he would have been a 5-star.
Yeah.
That's just how good he is. If he would have found football a few years ago, he would have been a 5-star.
That's insane. Question from Ephraim that I don't know if can be answered. I know a lot of people are always curious or interested in. Was the offensive coordinator in the press box, defensive coordinator on the field, vice versa? Did you get any?
I did not get any cadence of that, but I mean, just by their personalities, I could see Womack on the field and Sheridan in the press box just based on the personality. But I didn't get any preference of that going in of who was in the press box and who was on the field.
Got you. And look, I know we touched on this earlier in the show, but we've had a bunch of people jump on since we've gotten this thing started. And the word out of camp is Jalen Milroe is really taking those steps under this new offensive regime and Sheridan and DeBoer's offense, which, look, a lot of us quietly expected that, because if you looked what he did with Penix was kind of erratic his years at Indiana. He gets to Washington and he turns Penix into the real freaking deal and a more polished passer. And I'll be honest, I think Milroe's got a lot higher ceiling than he does. And so you're hearing these rumblings that man, it is really clicking and really looking good. So I'm going to touch on Don Parker's question here for the people that have just joined us. Any news on Milroe making the touch throws, the short term, the intermediate, the things we wanted to see him make progressions on this season?
Going back to what I mentioned about Coach DeBoer, he said the throws that were right there, whether these were touch throws, whether these were short to intermediate, he hit on them. Milroe hit on them. When they were right there, he hit on them. Now, of course, he also had some deep ball plays as well, but the touch throws, the short game, in terms of golf, the chip shots, the chip putts, he hit on them. He hit on them. He made it happen. So that's big for Milroe. He hit on the short throws. He hit on the chip shots. He put it right there. That's what you needed from him.
I mean, if that clicks, the people that were hoping Alabama was going to go away when Saban went away and not be the thorn in the side, it could be a very damn rude awakening this fall. Yeah, I'm excited about that linebacker room too. So, Steven, man, we've got a lot of folks on here. They're really excited. Again, it's the first scrimmage, the one where the dogs are really getting after it. What was your biggest takeaway from Kalen DeBoer's first scrimmage at Alabama?
I thought the biggest takeaway was just the realness of what he spoke with was, you guys, it's scrimmage 1. We threw a lot out there. You know, scrimmage 2 is not going to be a whole lot, but the fact that what I loved was, number 1, nobody got seriously hurt, thank God. You know, you had some guys that got some minor bumps and bruises, but Kalen DeBoer said it was what we expected. Nobody got seriously hurt. People kept their bodies clean, their bodies healthy. Praise Jesus. That was the one thing I came away with. Happy that nobody got hurt out there.
Hey, that's the biggest win you can have.
That's number 1. Number 2, the fact that he talked about it. We didn't have penalties out there. DeBoer said we probably had 1 pass interference. We probably had 1 holding. I'm like, what? So he's like, the guys did a great job. It was 1 pass interference, 1 holding, and 1 like illegal crackback block. I'm like, you're telling me 3 penalties? He said it was no mental mistakes out there.
Wow.
Guys were focused. They were locked in. Despite the heat, there was not a whole lot of mental errors out there. And I'm like, that's huge. Your first scrimmage.
Absolutely. And you hit on, man, those 2 points right there, Stephen, may be the most 2 important points of the entire thing, regardless of the progression of Milroe and how all these guys are looking. Injuries. This is the time of year. Look over at Texas right now. They lost their star running back for the year in Braxton. You're seeing ACLs, just random injuries, and we're at an era where the depth isn't what it used to be. So, I mean, keeping these guys healthy, you know, that's the prayer, the prayer the coaches pray every morning when they go to bed, and every night when they go to bed, and every morning when they wake up is, man, God, get us through these practices healthy and get us to the first game. So to hear that we're having these physical practices and still getting, you know, you said the tackling was there. These boys are hitting, but yet we're staying healthy. Boy, that's a blessing. We got 3 more weeks. We got to keep it there. But man, the thing you fully expect, and I expect coaches, they're going to cuss you out for it, but in the back of their mind, there's a little bit of an expectation. We're getting in this first scrimmage. It's 1,000 degrees in Tuscaloosa with no breeze. These boys there's going to be a little bit of sloppiness, a little bit of holding, a little bit of, you know, just mental mistakes that lead to penalties. To hear that there's only 3 this early in practice really speaks to the mindset and the mental toughness of this team early on. And that's a bright spot to really be, you know, again, those are the intangibles. When you talk about 9-win and 11-win seasons, you always go back. There's 2 or 3 games that were 1 play away or 1 mental mistake away. Those are the little things like that go a long way in that. So good gracious, that's probably the biggest positive that you can take away, I believe.
Oh yeah, it is. It's the biggest positive when you look at guys coming away healthy, nobody getting hurt that first scrimmage, and then just the mental fortitude despite the heat to not have those penalties. Very, very good right there. And I know, and I'm gonna hit on this one before we wrap it up here, Pettey. I know Don Parker talked about the guys at quarterback getting the ball out of their hands faster. Was there any issues in regards to pass protection? Offensive line had some great moments out there in pass pro, but there were also some moments where the defense won too. That's that competition. Offensive line had some good moments in pass pro, but that defense had some good moments also. And it was in those moments where DeBoer was like, let it go, get rid of it, let it go, get it out to the hot read, let it go. So he understands, hey, when the defense is winning some moments, have that hot read ready.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish. Is there final words, final takeaway? It would be like one of those Saturday morning cartoons where you give that final word of advice, or is there any final takeaway from practice you want to give the fans before we let you go?
I think the final takeaway I have is that this team is going to be good, people. This is going to be a good all-around team. They're continuing to build, to put the pieces in motion, but this is going to be a good all-around team and one that you can definitely get behind.
That's awesome. And I look, I feel it too, man. And you don't want to start drinking the Kool-Aid too much because as a fan, short for fanatic, this is the time of year where it's not just hot outside. We're not just drinking Kool-Aid because it's hot. We're drinking Kool-Aid because we're wanting to believe the best in our team. But there's just so many positives to take away right now. It's hard not to chug it a little bit. So, but I agree with you. In a year where everything's changing, we got a 12-team playoff. There looks to be 5 or 6 SEC teams that could throw their hat in that ring. I fully expect at the end of the day that Crimson to be rising to the top of those teams. Just with what Saban left, what DeBoer is going to be able to do. I'm really excited. And look, it's a long year. A lot of stuff can happen, but there's a lot of positives to take away from that. So, man, Stephen, I appreciate you coming in today. I appreciate all the fans, the chat. We're going to keep popping some shows like this as football season comes along to keep you with the inside, the best knowledge of what's going on inside the Crimson Tide program. With that said, all you folks just itching for a little more of them Crimson Tide nuggets, a little more of that Crimson Tide information right here on the Bama Standard tonight, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, Saturday night talking Bama. These guys are great. If you hadn't checked them out, I'm sure you have. If not, get your head out of the sand. Josh Tucker, JB, Marshall, and my boy right here, Steven. You going to be on with them tonight?
Man, yes, I got to get this Gatorade right now.
There we go. Get that Gatorade in you. Go get DeBoer to get you another ice cream, a little, what did you say, the orange sickle?
Man, I'm going to get an orange sickle, and I got to get with Jeff out to get me another towel.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Whitwell Sports, you got to get another towel. Go to whitwellsports.com. Tell them the secret word standard, and they'll hook you up. And our boys at Whitwell will get you that towel to keep Steven dry. And if you're not dry, if you don't need to keep dry, wave it in the face of, your favorite rival. Also, it's Jeff's birthday. Can we give him a roll tide? Roll tide,
Happy
Jeff.
birthday to you, Jeff.
Happy birthday, Jeff. Roll tide roll. It's football season, baby. What a good birthday present. With that said, man, Saturday night talking Bama, tune in at 8:30. I'm Daniel Pettey. I'm on the final whistle Tuesday nights at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Man, we're just, excited to be here for football season. And let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Promote the other shows. Huh?
Also, Bama Nation, for my written in-depth stuff from practice, be sure to go to touchdownalabama.com to get the written in-depth stuff here from practice.
Yeah, that's what it. Hey, where can we get more of you, Mr. Smith? And that.
You like I said, you can get that touchdownalabama.com as I'm getting more stuff in from the scrimmage. I have that in-depth report coming out this evening. So touchdownalabama.com. You can get those in-depth nuggets right there. You can find me at Coaching M. Smith on Twitter, Coaching M. Smith on X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can find me once again tonight here on Talking Bama with the guys JB and JT and Marshall.
Hell yeah. And I'm Daniel Pettey. You can find me all over the Bama Standard Network. Shows just popping up like popcorn. And with football season, you're going to get more of this beautiful fate. Well, I think, you'll get more of it. But hey, Let's end on those two words, Stephen.
Absolutely. Hey, absolutely. Let's do it.
Roll Tide.
We're rolling.